Next on Worcester News Tonight, the WRTA discussing potential cuts to service, what frequent riders have to say. Plus, the Northbridge community is rallying to raise money for a beloved crossing guard. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. The Northbridge community stepping up efforts to help Charlene Stewart. The well-known crossing guard is in need of a vest which could potentially save her life. Our Gretchen LaRosa has the story.
She's a great woman. She's been there. She protects our kids, and she puts her life on the line every day.
For the last 17 years, Charlene Stewart has been standing outside this crosswalk making sure kids get to school safely. But the Whitensville woman's work is on hold after she suffered a scary situation during the last snowstorm. A stent from a prior heart surgery failed while she was shoveling.
There was a stent broke and the main artery, I guess, was closing.
Doctors told her she needed a life vest, which would shock her heart if it were in trouble, but her health insurance does not cover the cost.
I need that vest, they want to make sure that I'm all right. I couldn't afford it because I had to pay my gas and my electric.
Doreen Smick has trusted her kids with Charlene for years. She recently beat cancer and has started raising money for Charlene so she too can be on the path to recovery.
It's really overwhelming. I didn't think I would get this much, this many donations, honestly. I really started at $4,000 just to get a month for her to get the vest, and it's overwhelming. This town has come for her. It's unbelievable.
Now, Doreen started this GoFundMe page with a goal of $12,000, and thanks to a generous community, they've raised over $10,000. But she says additional funds would be needed to help this beloved staple of the community while she's out of work. Gretchen LaRosa, Worcester News Tonight.
Facing a $900,000 deficit, the WRTA is preparing to make service cuts for the next fiscal year. The organization could potentially reduce the number of trips or eliminate routes altogether, leaving some bus riders worried about how they'll get around. Our Cam Jandro has more.
Hector Caraballo waits for the bus at the WRTA Central Hub. Twice a day, every day. Word of potential service cuts has him worried.
I'm disabled and I don't have any other form of transportation at the time. Unfortunately, my hips are going, so I need an operation on my hips, so I take the bus. It's critical for me.
The cuts come from Governor Charlie Baker's proposed budget. It level funds transit authorities, leaving the WRTA with a near $1 million deficit. The Transit Authority is now proposing a reduced number of trips, removing routes, and eliminating some weekend services. Bus driver Lori Mayotte says cuts are unacceptable.
We just cannot stay at these funding levels. We need to fully fund public transportation. It's a right for people to have public transportation.
Mayotte says between 10 and 15 people could lose their jobs, but the impact on commuters is her concern.
It's really devastating to them. Kids aren't going to get to school, people aren't going to get to doctor's appointments, they're not going to get to work, and on weekends they're going to be completely isolated. They're not going to get out at all.
Earlier this year, the WRTA reported ridership was down 13% in the first half of fiscal year 2018 compared to the previous year. Riders say they're concerned about the future.
I don't know how I'd go about without the public transportation.
They should allow those routes to stay open for the buses, for the people who need those buses.
Caraballo hopes a solution can be found where riders who depend on the bus aren't hurt.
Have some consideration, reconsider it, and think about those people that are less fortunate.
Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
Now to an update on the Parkland school shooting. The Broward Sheriff's Office says they've arrested the brother of the teenage shooter who's facing 17 first-degree murder charges. The Sheriff's Office reports says Zachary Cruz was found riding his skateboard at the school despite receiving prior warnings from school officials to stay away from the campus. It goes on to say Zachary Cruz told the arresting deputy he was there reflecting on the school shooting and to soak it in. The Worcester County District Attorney's Office is investigating the unattended death of a young woman. Blackstone Valley Regional Technical High School confirms Alexandra Valoris died this morning. She was a junior at the school. According to the DA, Her body was found before 7 a.m. in the area beneath the North Street overpass in Grafton. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner is working to determine the cause of death. Tuesday marks the first day of spring, but it may not feel like it in central Massachusetts. And some businesses which thrive on springtime say the cold weather, it's holding them back. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the story.
Temperatures may be below freezing, but it isn't stopping customers like Pat Burnham from getting her ice cream sundae.
My car's nice and warm. I'll eat it in my car.
Yeoman's Ice Cream in Westboro opened for the season on March 1st, and they say they've had people waiting in line for ice cream in winter coats.
Which is pretty early compared to other ice cream places, but people still come, obviously. It's like New Englanders with iced coffee, they never stop drinking it.
Spring begins Tuesday, and USA Marine in Worcester says people are eager to put their boats in the water, but the cold temperatures are holding them back.
Everybody got excited a few weeks ago. We had 2 65-degree days in a row. Phones started ringing, people were booking appointments, and then everybody changed their tune when we got, a couple nor'easters.
They say the boating season has started later the past couple of years. April 1st used to be the time when people would start buying and launching boats.
Boaters every year get the fever. Usually it's around March, cabin fever, so it hits them, and they want to get going.
The cold isn't holding back food trucks. Worcester's The Dog Father is starting Food Truck Row in the city, where a group of trucks will be on Highland Street during lunch Monday through Saturday.
We only missed one day, believe it or not. Last Tuesday when it snowed all day during the day.
A lot of them do come up in their cars and place their orders and run right back in.
But as spring approaches, most agree it could be warmer.
It's not something that is considered an ideal situation by any means, but they do say march in like a lion, out like a lamb, so we're really hoping the lamb shows up tomorrow.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
Monday is St. Joseph's Day, and to Italian Americans like John Sarli, it's a big deal. Back in the Middle Ages, people in Sicily were going through a severe drought and famine, so they promised St. Joseph a feast in his honor in exchange for their rain for their crops. And it's been a tradition ever since. Sarli says it's a big day for families to get together, feast, and eat zeppelis.
The most popular tradition would be for zeppelis, for a pastry. And what it is more or less an Italian flaky puff with a mixture of custard and raspberry and cream inside with a cherry on top. Very busy, very, very busy. As a matter of fact, the Archdiocese for Worcester ordered 60 of them this morning. They came in this morning and picked them up. Yeah, and then throughout the course of the day, people are coming in buying a dozen at a time. And like I said, it's been going very, very well.
Giovanni's Italian Bakery and Deli has sold hundreds of zeppelis Monday. He says it's great the day is so widely celebrated in Worcester. 4 weeks from today will be the 122nd Boston Marathon. The banners which will line the streets of Boston through Marathon Monday are now up. This year's theme is Together Forward. Organizers say no one runs the marathon alone, and when you cross the finish line, you become part of a family and part of the legacy. Mayor Marty Walsh says after the marathon bombing 5 years ago, the marathon has taken on a new meaning, and it has become a movement representing the strength of human spirit and shows the resilience of Boston. The American Red Cross says they're in need of blood donations following the recent nor'easters. They had to cancel blood drives due to the weather and say this time of year is usually slow. Donating blood only takes about 5 to 10 minutes and can save 3 lives. Monday, Charter Communications held a blood drive. One donor says it's something easy she can do to give back.
Here now we have the Red Cross come over to our site, and we have volunteers donate blood. Something that I just always feel like if I can give, why not? So it's a wonderful thing to do, and I'm O negative, so it's a highly sought after type of blood. So if there's any way I can help, I'm going to do it.
If you'd like to donate blood, you can do so 7 days a week at multiple Red Cross Worcester locations.